I'm excited to have a conversation with the founders of Juniper Strategies. We're going to be talking about AI and specifically, in many cases, generative AI. Tools like ChatGPT and Claude are becoming ubiquitous in the business scene. And what we want to talk about is how they're empowering human decision-making, not replacing it. And we want to talk about the risks and the opportunities of meaningfully adding AI to your strategic process. So welcome, it's good to see you.
Thank you.
So how should leadership teams and companies be thinking about integrating AI into their strategic process today?
Well, Jamie, I think the most important thing is you start with what outcomes you're trying to achieve. I mean, technologies like the GenAI tools that you're seeing are being applied in many parts of a business and different processes, either as a time or a cost saver. And it's critical that you choose the right tool for the right application, no matter what it was. Now, you mentioned, what about AI for strategy? So you have to think about, what are you trying to achieve there? And strategy development is one of the most complex decision-making activities, and then execution is a highly cross-functional activity. So you have to think about those elements when you're selecting the right solution. So you want tools then that are designed to simplify complexity and then enhance teamwork during the implementation phase.
Now, you've been early adopters, early users of these Gen AI tools in the strategic process. What are some of the learnings or insights that you can share with those listening today?
Yeah, well, we've certainly seen a rush of interest of late in adopting AI technology into the strategy workflow, just like everywhere in business, of course. But also, just like with other technology trends, it's important to view AI as a tool that can help you improve a business outcome and not the outcome itself, just a little bit like Kevin was just describing. With that in mind, it's important to consider how you can use different AI technologies in your strategy workflow to drive different outcomes. Generative AI has exploded because of how it helps you quickly ingest and synthesize data much more quickly than was ever possible before. But in business strategy, it's critical not only that we're moving quickly, but also that we're moving in the right direction. And so this is where traditional AI technology also helps you make better business predictions and also with traceability. So strategy requires a combination of qualitative insight and quantitative information, considering market dynamics, customer needs, competitor strategies, financial information, and so on. And so we really encourage people to think about how to bring not only generative AI, but also predictive traditional AI models into their strategy workflow to drive better strategy outcomes. And at Juniper, we use generative AI to ingest and synthesize data on a scale not humanly possible, and then combine that with our own traditional AI model for predicting business performance that we've been evolving for 20 years.
Now, based on our prior conversations, you both feel very strongly that now is the time to really start integrating AI into your strategic workflow and process. Why do you think the urgency is now and this is the right time to start doing that?
Yeah, well, certainly the AI revolution is here today, even if AI technology has been around for decades. But AI is really just another paradigm shift with regards to how people will accomplish their work. It's an inevitable trend that all companies will adopt AI at some point in time, and it will disrupt how people develop and deploy business strategy. As one chief strategy officer put it to me, AI will disrupt how we all develop strategy. It's just a question of whether you want to disrupt or be disrupted. And much like the internet did in the 90s, the companies that waited got left behind, whereas those that embraced this opportunity with AI to develop superior strategy are those that will leap ahead.
Now, I would guess that everyone listening to this has used a large language model like ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, either a little or a lot. But what are some of the risks that are introduced with using a tool like that in the strategic process?
Jamie, let me start. I think there's three types of risks that you really want to consider. And the first one goes to when you say tools like this. I think, it's similar to any technology choice, as I mentioned earlier. There's a risk of over-reliance. I mean, it's a big investment to get it going, and then you want to use it for everything. And frankly, the generative AI tools are very good and have many, many uses, but they aren't going to solve anything. So you have to make sure you're choosing the right technology. Then the second risk is, I think, how you deploy it across the organization. any technology implementation, going back to Darcy's point about the internet. I think a lot of those technology implementations stalled because you didn't think about the risks of organizational change. And we're all human. Change is hard. And if you don't start with a well-articulated change management plan for how you're going to bring the technology in, you're never going to see the benefits. And then the final one, I think of from a timing point of view, but I'm just echoing what Darcy said. I think the biggest question is when. And if you wait too long, then, well, implementation is going to be easier. All the good books are going to be written. Everybody's going to say it's conventional wisdom to do this. But I think these tools are the ones that can really provide differentiation to leaders and first movers. So I think the biggest risk you have to think about is you want to choose the right time, but you can't be late.
Now, AI tools are huge enablers of humans, right? And humans have to play a role in the strategic process. So how are humans being integrated into this workflow and strategic process?
Yeah, that's a great question too. Many pundits will describe AI as the technology that will replace all human tasks and jobs, including strategy, but also execution, leadership, and even culture alignment. Now, we don't subscribe to that view for strategic decision making, at least not anytime soon, not in the short term. And the reason for that is that humans ultimately have the accountability for decisions, and the humans are the ones who know how much risk they want to take with any given decision. So while we see tremendous opportunity for AI to inform humans for better decision making, a person will still need to make a judgment on which scenarios they want to pursue and how they want to move forward. And then whether the decision is purely human or AI informed, it still requires leadership to align the team behind that decision, just as Kevin was just describing, to ensure flawless execution of it.
Yeah, and most of these companies already have a strategic process, right? They're doing something today. And do they have to completely dismantle and rebuild the strategic process, or can they take pieces and begin to evolve what they have?
Leaders certainly don't need to scrap everything they've got. You don't have to scrap your existing strategic planning process, especially as those are usually interconnected to a budget and talent management and other operational processes too. So we never advocate starting from scratch. You want to build on top of what's working. And then there are different stages of adopting strategy into your strategic process and workflow. Everything from some simple quick wins to a much more sophisticated use of AI in the decision loop and operational reviews.
Now, AI is an incredible tool. What pieces of the strategic process are being impacted right now with AI, are best suited for AI, or soon will be impacted by AI?
Yeah, let me talk about the ones that I think are soon to be. Certainly a lot of people are using, they call them strategy bots to do some simple market analysis and synthesis, and that's a great thing, and you want to be using that. I think where we're really focused is think about the ones that are really complex tasks and ones that are really team-oriented. And so when I think about those is, all the effort that goes into generating and then comparing complex alternative scenarios and trying to choose between them. You need detailed financial predictions based on usually large sets of assumptions, and that kind of assumptive, predictive financial analysis is just not something, for instance, that the GenAI technology was spread out to do. And then when you think about you're in the implementation or the execution phase, you started that whole journey on a set of assumptions. Inevitably, some of those assumptions are going to start to change. What can you do to get a leading indicator that something you assumed is no longer a good assumption and you might have to do something different? And so you really want to get ahead of the things that are going to cause you to miss your desired goals and then make a change. And change, as I said earlier, change is hard, whether it's adopting a tool or if everybody's executing to a plan, that person that says, hey, I think we have to make a change is going to have a hard task. But these tools can really help the teams align around the best course forward.
Yeah, and not only will these strategists and companies need to change, the technologies and tools are going to change too. So how far can this go? How far can AI for strategy take us?
That's a great question too. So our vision is one where all organizations, all companies achieve their goals by using AI in their strategy to execution workflow. AI will empower internal teams to create better strategies, make better decisions, execute the right things, and align their culture to strategy. The teams that do adopt AI for strategy will not only build and execute strategies more quickly, but are going to execute the right strategies to outpace their competition and ultimately win in their markets.
Now, and I know that both of you are having a lot of conversations with members of the C-suite. What's one thing you wish that was different in the thinking of leaders in companies today?
I would say you really want to be open to leaning in. I mean, if I talked about it, you won't find any C-suite that says, we just need a mediocre strategy and we'll do everything else well. If there's something out there that can even help make your strategy better, you should be looking for the first opportunity to employ it.
Well, thank you so much. This has
Thank
been
you,
incredible. And again, every time I talk to the two of you, I learned something, and maybe more than just something, maybe a lot of things. Thank you.
Appreciate the time.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you.